Madam Chair, we are live.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the town's Property Standards and Animal Services Appeal Committee meeting this evening. My name is Jessica Black, and I am the chair of this committee. I would ask everyone with an electronic device to please turn it off or silence it so as not to disturb the meeting. It is now 7:02 p.m., and I'd like to call this meeting to order. To begin, I'd like to read the Town of Ajax's land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that the land on which we gather is situated within the traditional treaty territory of the Mississaugas, more specifically the Mississaugas of Scugog Island First Nation, signatories of the Gunshot Treaty of 1788 and the Williams Treaties of 1923. This land is and will continue to be home to the Indigenous peoples. Let us acknowledge the mistakes and traumas of the past with authenticity and support truth and reconciliation. Let us engage and celebrate Indigenous communities by leaders of action, acknowledging the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples and the Truth and Reconciliation Commission of Canada's recommendations towards truth and reconciliation. Let us keep these principles close as we continue towards truth and reconciliation and move forward with kindness and respect as a community. Thank you. I'll now give a brief overview of the committee's role in the process in which we move through these appeals this evening. So the Town of Ajax Property Standards Animal Services Appeal Committee has full delegation of the authority in the Building Code Act and the Municipal Act to hear appeals from both property owners and dog owners who disagree with a served property standards order or an order to restrain and make decisions on these appeals. The committee shall hear evidence presented by witnesses, town bylaw staff, property owners, the owner of the dog, and any other individuals that may have evidence relating to the matter before the committee. If an appellant or the town disagrees with the decision of this committee with pursuant to a property standards order, the appellant may appeal to the Superior Court of Justice within 14 days of the committee's decision being sent. If an appellant disagrees with the decision of this committee with pursuant to an order to restrain, the appellant may appeal to the town's General Government Committee within 14 days of the committee's decision being sent and paying the appropriate fees. This process will be outlined in the written decision that will be mailed to you after this meeting. Town staff will first present the testimony to the committee. The committee will then ask the officer questions. At the conclusion of committee questions, the appellant will then have the option to ask questions of the officer. This is only an opportunity for questions from the appellant and not for providing statements to the committee. This process will continue for each witness that will give testimony on behalf of the town. At this point, the appellant will present their testimony to the committee. The committee will then ask the appellant questions. At the conclusion of the committee questions, the town staff will then have the option to ask questions of the appellant. This process will continue for each witness that will give testimony on behalf of the appellant. I'll then ask each side to summarize their respective positions, starting with town staff. And then at this point, the committee will deliberate. Town staff and the appellant should remain present in the event that any additional questions are raised by any member that requires clarification. At the conclusion of our deliberations and decision, I'll verbally notify the appellant of the committee's decision with regards to the appeal and remind you that you will receive the committee's decision in writing. Thank you. Item 2 on our agenda is minutes from our previous meeting. Does any member have any questions or comments regarding the minutes? Okay. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes?
Yep. Let's accept the minutes, please.
Okay. Is there... Okay, the motion is carried. Thank you. Let's begin. Oh, there it is. Can we reset that? Does it give you the choice?
Madam Chair, just switch to a hand vote.
Okay, we'll switch to a hand vote. All in favor? Okay, motion carried. Thank you. So let's begin our appeal section of the agenda for this evening. Is the parties relating to Mackerel present today?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay, first we'll start with the town's position, please.
On September 15th, 2024, the town received a complaint from Julie McGeechee advising of a dog attack incident that occurred on September 14th at approximately 6 p.m. The victim stated that she was walking her mini poodle type dog named Lucky on Redmond Drive when a Great Dane type dog ran out of the front door of a dwelling on Redmond Drive and attacked the victim and her dog. The victim stated that her clothes were bloody and Lucky was bleeding profusely from many wounds. The victim also stated that Keenan Mackerel drove the victim to the animal emergency clinic, who initially paid $2,000 of their medical expenses. The victim advised that Lucky was being transferred to the Toronto Veterinarian Emergency Hospital for a specialized surgery. A statement was supplied from the victim and has been included in the appeal package. I then contacted the Animal Emergency Clinic of Durham Region to obtain medical records and photos of the injuries of the victim's dog, Lucky. The total estimated charges for the medical treatment were between $7,186.82 and $9,787.82. I've included a copy of the invoice in the appeal package. I then submitted a bite exposure form to Public Health Department. On September 18th, I received an email from the victim advising of the municipal address that the Great Dane resides at. The victim also updated me on Lucky's injuries and the treatment plan. The victim stated that Lucky had been transferred to the Toronto Veterinarian Hospital in Scarborough, Ontario, where a surgery was completed. A copy of that email has been included in the appeal package. On September 19th, I attended 5 Redmond Drive with Municipal Law Enforcement Officer Ralofson. I knocked on the door and met with Caitlin and Keenan Mackerel, who advised that they are the owners of the Great Dane named Willie that was involved in the attack on September 14th. The appellant stated that visitors to the property were coming in and out of the front door of the dwelling. When one of the visitors opened the door, Willie ran out and attacked Lucky. Caitlin stated that Keenan drove the victim and Lucky to the animal emergency clinic and paid approximately $2,000 of the medical expenses. On September 20th, I received an email from the victim with photos of Lucky's injuries, which have been included in the appeal package. On September 25th, I sent the appellant a statement request through email. On September 26th, I performed a search of the DocuPet animal licensing system. Records show an active license for Willie, a Great Dane type dog owned by Caitlin Mackerel of 5 Redmond Drive. I've included the active license in the appeal package. On September 27th, I received an email from the appellant providing statements from both of the appellants, which included a Google Drive with documents, photos, and an invoice of the initial medical expenses as a result of the attack, which is included in the appeal package. On September 27th, I attended 5 Redmond Drive to deliver an interim order to restrain with Municipal Law Enforcement Officer Sam Martinselli. I've included a copy of the interim order to restrain in the appeal package. I then met with Willie, who was showing no signs of aggression as he was under verbal control of the appellant. I also observed an automatic deadbolt locking system on the front door, a tether attached to the stairway railing, and a black gate installed behind the front door. Additionally, I observed a second tether that was located at the front of the property, where the tether wire stops before the boulevard. On October 7th, I received an email from the victim advising of the total cost of the medical expenses incurred as a result of the attack. The total cost was $15,296.21. I've included a copy of that in the appeal package. On October 11th, I attended 5 Redmond Drive to personally deliver a comprehensive order to restrain to Caitlin and Keenan Macro. Immediately after serving the order, Caitlin and Keenan wrote an appeal letter addressed to the Ajax Animal Services Committee appealing the comprehensive order to restrain. I've included a copy of that in the appeal package. On October 15th, Municipal Law Enforcement Officer Rolofson attended 5 Redmond Drive to personally deliver an appeal notification letter advising the appellants of the time, date, and location of the upcoming Animal Services Appeals Committee.
Thank you very much. Now is the time when the committee can ask questions. Does anyone here have any questions for the officer? No? Okay. I don't have any questions either. Thank you. This is an opportunity for the appellant. Is the appellant here? Oh, online. The appellant, do you have any questions for the officer?
No.
No. No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So this part of the hearing now is your opportunity to share your evidence and story. So please provide your testimony.
You want to go
Mind if-
first?
Yeah. So I've written a little letter I included in the Google Doc and Drive, as well as the documents that I provided to Rahima a week or 2 ago. I'm going to read that now. Thank you everyone for being here today and in advance for your time and consideration of our case. My name is Caitlin Mackerel, and I'm here today not only as a pet owner, but as a mother, a small business owner, and a friend of the Ajax Rotary / former Rotarian and board member. Initially, I never wanted a dog. My husband and his sister inundated me with photos and comments until I went to see Willie as a puppy. Now I can't imagine life without him. He is my co-worker, he is our family, and most of all, he is my friend. He is a responsibility that I gladly bear and take pride in. When you make your decision, I would like to ask you to also factor in that Willie's family, myself especially, are a proactive and loving family who care deeply for our community's well-being. Please note that we are appealing the order to restrain in its entirety, with special note to muzzling inside the dwelling, on the owner's property outside the dwelling, on any property other than the owner's property, as well as signs. The reason I am appealing is not because Willie won't let us put the muzzle on him or that he won't abide by whatever rules we enforce. It's because he truly is a good boy, he is gentle and kind, and this punishment does not reflect the dog that he is. I think by the end of this appeal, you'll agree that this incident was an anomaly. It was specific to this dog and owner, and that we are taking all corrective measures and steps available in order to rectify what has happened. I'm appealing these orders because Willie can't advocate for himself. He can't do this in the face of a situation that was unjustly brought upon him, and because this will affect our family's quality of life. Willie is the neighborhood's dog. He is a beautiful example of a large, gentle dog for small children, for people who are usually scared of large dogs, as well as special needs children. He is playful, happy, handsome man who loves to spend time with other like-minded dogs. The squeals of joy I get to hear when toddlers and school-age children see him on a daily basis feed him treats. He takes them gently from their hands. He's all lips like a horse if you've ever fed one. They love to feel how soft his ears are and give him a hug. We have never been scared or nervous to bring Willie with us to the park, to a friend's house, those with toddlers and babies, or have him hooked up outside the front of our home. During the time we have received these orders, I've missed seeing Willie's bliss as he picks up the best stick he's ever found and prances alongside me with his newfound treasure. I hate the looks that Willie gets with his muzzle on and the fact that people feel the need to cross the street because they make assumptions about the mask that he's forced to wear. Willie is playful and respectful with our two small cats, even when one of them, who has seizures often, has her seizures. He has never been aggressive or made us worry about that in any nature. He's been around children his whole life and is the gentlest soul. My daughter learned to stand up by grabbing and climbing on Willie. Willie is loved by his neighborhood friends who come to play in our backyard and often goes on group walks with our dog walker, who has seen and socialized him for almost 4 years now. Willie will continue to receive training. I understand that no one should hesitate when walking their dog near our house. However, I think you will come to understand the special circumstances of this case and that Willie is truly not a threat. Although I would like to leave it here, I do feel there is an element that needs addressing. If Willie is so great, then why are we here today? I believe that Willie saw an opportunity to act in a preemptive defense against a dog and a lady who have on multiple occasions acted threateningly towards me and my family. These previous occasions have resulted in at least 2 phone calls to the police and multiple nights where we have had to return home from our walks early due to her threatening behavior. I have applied for a peace bond, another term for a restraining order against this lady named Julie, and she has been asked not to engage with us or come near our home. Yet previous to September 14th, she continued to walk by on a nearly daily basis, sometimes twice a day. This is despite the fact that there are many walking paths and alternative routes, as she does not live on my street or even the street adjacent to mine. Each time the dog stops and barks at her, September 14th occurred. A special set of circumstances and timing that led to dramatic and unfortunate events. I'd like to thank you again for your time and consideration, and I hope that you find our evidence and testimony as sufficient to remove these restraints. I have provided key evidence to both the fact that it was a specific dog, Willie's prior and current good behavior, as well as we are actively seeking extra training, even though, to be honest, I don't think it's necessary. Willie has never gotten out before, and we've never had any of these worries. Also, Keenan and myself have taken many actions to remediate and actions in good faith after this incident, and I do think those should all be taken into account. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Keenan, do you have any comments or any additional statement?
Yes, I'm not as well spoken as my wife, but I do have a couple things I'd like to say. I'm not sure if you guys have looked over the evidence package that we provided, but we have some letters from some people there, including our dog walker, who takes our dog out 3 times a week. And often those walks are group walks where he goes out with groups of other dogs, from big to small. He's never shown any aggression to any of them. And I also want you to see that we have had many incidents with this lady and this dog. We've contacted the police 2 times before this happened about some of the things that we've been having trouble with this lady and her dog. I would say that I've had 5 or 6 interactions with her away from my house where we didn't call the police, and that my wife has had multiples where they didn't call the police. But that, like, we've reached out about the problem with this person because things have been escalating with her for a while. And this is something that's not uncommon for her with other neighbors. She's harassed other dog owners and their dogs. And she's been doing it here for years. Especially if you look at Laura Lee's letter. She is another lady in the neighborhood And she's had many problems with this woman, including her lingering outside of her house and taunting her animal the same fashion that she's been doing at my house. My dog often interacts with other dogs, people, children, and is never shown to be aggressive. This is a problem that we've been having with a specific person and dog, and it's been ongoing. My dog certainly is not like without blame here. And we've been doing everything that we can to make sure that even if that dog walked by my house with our front door open, that he would not get out. He's never tried to run out of the house before. He answers, like he does what I tell him to do, or he does what my wife tells him to do. He's a really good dog and very well known. And that's all I really have to say right now.
Thank you very much for your testimony.
Madam Chair, point of order.
Yeah.
The appellants also supplied 5 videos that the committee have yet to see, so
Oh,
we have the opportunity to present those 5 videos.
yes, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Derek.
My dog is the one with the pink bandana.
Thank you. Thank you. So now is the chance for the committee to ask questions of the appellants.
Okay, I do have a question. In the package provided, I believe that Julie had a bite mark on her hand. And I'm wondering if the dog attacked her or if that was due to breaking up the fight.
To be honest, I do believe it was her dog who was in her hands that caused those injuries, probably out of pain. I can't speak for certain, but I was very close to everything as it went down, and that's what I do believe. The whole thing lasted less than 20 seconds, and I really don't think my dog ever had her dog out of his mouth during that time.
She had her dog in her hands at one point, and is it possible that my dog made those puncture wounds? It is. But he was not after her. He was fighting with this dog.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question with regards to Willie and kind of leaving the house, leaving the property. Is he known to frequently bolt out the front door, or, you know, I mean, from everything in the package, it seems like his recall is pretty good, but just the frequency with which he leaves the house is what my question is.
No, he's never left the house before, and the reason why he got out is because my buddy was over and he was in a sling, so he didn't have that right arm, and he was holding the door wide open, not trying to stop the dog from getting out because the dog never runs out. So he didn't like think to be in its way or keep the door closed.
Anderson, I work from home 24/7. And oftentimes I leave our storm door, which is very easily pushed open. And Willie will sit in front of, prior to this incident, would sit in front of this storm door, and he has never pushed it open. As well as we have left accidentally the side to our backyard open, and he won't even leave our backyard without us. We've never had him get outside the house ever.
Thank you for that.
Hi, thank you for your testimony and the videos. He does appear to be very cute and well-mannered in the videos. But I must ask, when were those videos taken? Were they taken before or after the attack?
These are from before, and like we haven't sent them in, but I have video of him from after, where with a new trainer and him with groups of dogs, and like behaving well. He's like walking in a line with all the dogs, like you see on an Instagram video.
So currently on, sorry, go ahead, Caitlin.
Right. He has continued on his weekly walks 3 times a week with the other dogs. So those walks haven't stopped because of this incident. He's just had to wear the muzzle because of the order. But he has continued to be socialized.
Okay, yeah, I was going to ask if he's wearing the muzzle, which it stated, so yes. Well, one thing in your initial statement to the town staff, you had said that he was attacked in the dog park earlier on when he was younger.
Oh.
And you'd said that if another dog threatens him, he doesn't back down, and you were concerned that Willie exhibited this behavior. Was that a one-up incident back when he was younger?
It was, yes. He was quite young. And we training after that, as well as kept the socialization up with the dog walker. And now Willie is in boarding training with Macmillan Mastiffs, which is a local, well-known large dog trainer, to help us just curb that behavior, which I don't even think, to be honest, and the trainer doesn't think that it is a problem actually. But in order, just in case, we're still taking those actions. It's not acceptable, so.
So another question. So in terms of your ask of us today, you'd said you wanted to get rid of the order to restrain in its entirety. Is there something specific? Is it just the muzzling? Is it the locking of the deadbolt? Is it the tether, or all of it that you'd like to see?
I think that it's a little bit excessive for inside the home to have the deadbolt, the gate, as well as the tether onto our banister. I do not think it's necessary, as well as the muzzling outside the home. I'm going to be honest with you. I would invite any of you often have my daughter and her less than 2-month-old child with us. And I have no concerns whatsoever. I do believe that this was specifically that lady. Willie has been in distressive situations. For example, you'll see the vet wrote us a letter that even when he's being poked and prodded or analyzed at the veterinarian clinic, that he's never exhibited this kind of behavior.
So thank you. So also in the statement that you read before, you said that Willie saw an opportunity to act in a preemptive defense against this dog. So perhaps you can explain more what you meant by that.
So I didn't want this to be a witch hunt. I would like you to understand the extent and severity of the harassment that this lady has displayed upon us, as well as local neighbors. I had neighbors who didn't want to write a letter because this would be public. So even you'll probably be able to tell Caroline's letter is a little bit subdued because we didn't want this to be repercussive on her. I hate to say it, and this lady is mentally unstable. And her dog, she will stop down the street and yell, "My dog's a rescue." It's not friendly. And the incident I had in June 23rd, you'll probably see the police report there. She came up to me on my property in my own home. And I would like to also address the fact that she was physically abusive to my husband during this incident, putting her back against the door of his vehicle and kicking at him in his vehicle on September 14th, as well as being verbally abusive to me in front of my daughter in front of our home. I understand that that specific case was distressed. She was distressed, but I would like you to know that this is not a singular incident. And she has followed us down the street screaming at us with her dog yapping at us. And I've had to return home and call my husband to meet me because I didn't feel safe on the street.
Thank you for that update, Caitlin and Keenan.
Thank you. I have just a couple questions as well for either or both of you. So thank you for bearing with us here. Where exactly did the incident take place? The actual dog fight? Where did that take place physically? Was it on your driveway, on your front lawn? Was it on the sidewalk, the boulevard? Where exactly was that incident?
It happened two doors down from my house.
Okay.
Willie saw the dog Lucky walk by and bark at our house, and I believe he saw them continuing a house or two down.
Okay.
The dog was barking at I had some friends over, and they were loading their vehicle, and the dog was barking at them and barking at us.
Okay.
It's difficult to describe the situation with the owner and the dog.
For sure. Thank you. Thank you. I really got a sense from the package material that you are taking this quite seriously. You've put in a lot of measures to prevent Willie from escaping. The baby gate that's at the front door, was that there prior to this incident, or was that since this incident?
No, the baby gate and the leash weren't there before this incident. I've never considered trying to keep him out, but it was a really bad scene, and so right away I just started trying to do everything I could think of before, like, until we could calm down, and like I just started putting stuff up.
Okay, thank you. And then my final question that I have is, it was mentioned that you have applied for a peace bond against this lady. Is there an actual peace bond in place?
There's not. I had to prove repetitive and dangerous behavior. So, unless there is some sort of violent, that's what it was, repetitive and violent behavior.
Okay.
But there was violent behavior that day, but they said because it was a stressful situation that it's not going to count as enough to issue a peace bond.
Okay. Right, I think that's all the questions that I have. Anyone else have any questions? Does the town have any questions for the appellants?
Through the chair, no questions.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so this is the part of the meeting where we will be asking each side to summarize their case, their opinion. So we'll start with the town, and then we'll come back to the appellant.
through the chair. I'm not disputing any of the contents that have been brought forth through the appellant. My concern is the severity of the attack and the whereabouts of the attack, so which was on the town's property, Sidewalk Boulevard. So I believe that the comprehensive order to restrain should be upheld.
Thank you. The appellants, if you want to summarize your position, please.
I understand the concern with the severity. I would like you to take into account that it is a very tiny dog and that Willie is about 110 pounds. So any attack would have probably been severe. I would like you to know that not only were we right on top of the situation, there was 4 of us that ran over at that time. So it was acted upon very quickly. As well as I would like to just reinforce the fact that we have a myriad of letters from people saying that Willie has been around both their children and multiple dogs of all sizes, as well as the 3 police reports, the videos that you saw, that we acted in good faith immediately, getting him training, paying for the first invoice, as well as I believe our liability insurance has paid the rest of the bill. And then again, me applying for the peace bond immediately after should show you the severity of the actions taken by this lady. And I just want to thank you again for your time and consideration on this case. I really hope that
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to stress again that this has been something that has been climaxing for a while between us and this lady. Like one of the incidences that we had, it was like after a few times that I met her while walking the dog, I was walking towards her and we were both on the sidewalk. So I crossed the street and went on the other side of the street. And then she crossed the street and came on the same side of the street where there's no sidewalk and was yelling at me about her dog being unfriendly. And then so me and my dog had to turn around and walk really fast to try to get away, like almost running.
Okay. Thank you very much. So at this point, the committee will deliberate amongst ourselves. I ask that you remain present. We may have some additional questions, and then we will provide our judgment.
Okay.
Does anyone? Yep.
I guess my opinion on the case is this does seem like an isolated incident. I do think from the testimony of neighbors and dog walking and training, the dog doesn't really seem to be a threat to other animals or people, frankly. And I do think that the home seems to have since been secured. So I would be open to kind of removing the muzzling restrictions in entirety. I do think the deadbolts and the signage in the motion should stay, or in the restraining order should stay, but that would be my first thoughts.
My opinions on it are, you know, Caitlin and Keenan seem like very responsible pet owners, homeowners, and members of the community. This does seem like an isolated incident. It seems like there was a lot of past animosity between the parties involved. And you know, the videos clearly show him interacting with both bigger dogs and smaller dogs, and he seems in control. I'm with Michelle on this one, where I do think that keeping him in a fenced yard, as well as you know, having someone over the age of 18 just to control him, because he is 110 pounds, and although isolated, it doesn't mean that it cannot happen again. But I would agree with Michelle with removing the muzzling and you know, but keeping the other measures in place.
Yep. I'm going to sound like a broken record here, but yep. Section 4A and having the dog muzzled, I'm okay in removing. again, it does seem very sociable dog. This does seem to be an isolated incident, and there's a lot of, I'll say, community involvement and I guess history with this dog and the neighborhood. So I'd be okay keeping the order with the exception, or sorry, and removing the muzzling part section for you.
Okay, so I think it sounds like we're soon ready to make a motion. Looking through the evidence that is in front of us, we see that this dog over time was likely provoked by this lady and her dog, and saw an opportunity in an isolated moment. The homeowners, the owners of the dog, have taken measures to prevent the dog from escaping the house again. The dog seems to be well socialized, out on walks with other dogs of all sizes, as well as one of the videos showed the dog in a confined space with other small dogs in the back of a vehicle with no, I mean, he was licking himself and turning the other way. So there didn't seem to be any aggression, any reactivity. And we have the owner of the victim dog who has been publicly or allegedly publicly claiming that her dog is reactive and not friendly. So, you know, at this point, I think, you know, the committee seems to be coming to an agreement about potentially looking at removing a muzzle. I'm just looking at the entire order to restrain. So we have number one, licensing, which we have evidence that this is in force. Number two, you know, we're looking at considering inside the dwelling. So not only is there an order to muzzle inside the dwelling here, but also that the dog be tethered to the stairway and behind a baby gate and behind a deadbolt locking secured door. And that's, you know, in the house, and only to be removed from when the dog is secured within the dwelling in a crate. So, you know, I want that also to be considered when we're looking at the entire order. And then part three, looking at that section as well. Because I think Paul and Anderson, you mentioned point 4 only. So I just want to point out that there is muzzle in sections 2 and 3 as well. Okay. Do we have consensus to bring a motion at this point? Or do you want to review each section individually? Okay.
Okay, so I just want to reiterate what we just spoke about. So in my mind, I'm thinking we're removing section 2, basically letters B and C, and then the or keep the dog muzzled at all times.
I'm in agreement with that.
I would agree to that.
Okay, on number 3, I would say we would remove in entirety.
Yes, yes, I agree with that as well.
I still think the or part being in the fully enclosed yard
Okay,
is something
Yeah,
we should have.
we could leave the fenced-in yard.
And also under the supervision of someone 18.
Yeah, I think that's in number 4.
Number 3 as well.
Oh,
so s-
I just want to point out that section 3.b would pertain to the front yard of the property.
I think that really needs to be there as well. And it looks like
Yeah.
they're doing it today as well.
okay,
So again, section 3A, removing the muzzle.
Okay. And then
For section 4, we would remove A, keep B and C.
I agree.
I agree as well.
Do we have a motion then to amend the order to restrain as follows? Section 1, leave as is. Section 2, remove point B and C, as well as the or.
Yes.
Point 3, remove point A. And number 4, section 4, remove point A as well.
I'm in agreement with that.
Yep, me too.
Yep. Ownership transfer still needs to stay. Section
the
5 and
signage.
also section 6, beware of dogs should also still stay.
Okay. Do I have a motion for that?
I'll motion for that.
Okay. Can we vote on that?
Madam Chair, we're going to have to do a hand vote, but if you could one more time reiterate in words what that motion is.
Okay.
Thank you.
So the motion will be to amend the order to restrain as follows. In section 2, remove points B, C, and the or. In section 3, remove point A. And in section 4, remove point A. So all in favor of that motion? Motion carries. So are the appellants still present? Okay.
Yes.
So the committee has agreed on amending the order as indicated. This will be provided to you in writing.
Thank you very much. And thank you again for your time.
Oh, it's frozen again. Okay. I think we'll move on in the agenda. Oh, sorry, you're back again. You keep freezing, so we thought you
I'm
were
sorry,
gone.
I didn't know what happened there.
That's okay. So this, the amended order will be sent out to you, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All right. Okay, we're going to move on our agenda to section 4.2, the Property Standards Appeal Committee regarding Weenan at 28 Linton Avenue. Is the appellant here today? Okay. Okay, thank you. We're going to start, first of all, with town staff providing information. So we'll listen to town staff, and the committee will have an opportunity to ask questions of the town staff, and then you, sir, will have opportunity to ask questions as well, and then provide your statement and testimony. Thank you. Officer, go ahead.
Through the chair, on September 24th, 2024, the Town of Ajax Bylaw Services received a complaint regarding a stove not functioning in a rented dwelling unit at 28 Linton Avenue in Ajax, Ontario. On September 26, 2024, I inspected the property and observed a stainless steel gas-operated stovetop oven with a non-operable control panel. I've provided a picture of the stovetop oven in the appeal package. The stovetop burners were operational, but the control panel for the oven did not provide any feedback when attempts to activate it were made. An operable oven is a minimum requirement of the property standards bylaw. I also observed an elevated concrete porch and stairs leading up to the front door without a handrail or guards. The front porch's height appeared to be over 60 centimeters in elevation from ground level, and I saw that the stairs leading up to the platform had a total of 6 risers without the benefit of a handrail. Furthermore, I observed the stairs leading into the rear door in the backyard that required 4 steps to access the rear of the dwelling unit without the benefit of a handrail as well. Lastly, I observed the entrance to a wasp nest on the southern external wall of the dwelling, as I observed approximately 10 to 15 yellow jacket type insects entering and exiting out of a hole in the exterior wall behind a gas meter pipe. Please see the attached photographs in the appeal package. On September 27th, 2024, I re-inspected the property again to gather accurate measurements of the elevated concrete porch. The north side of the porch measured at 105 centimeters from ground level, the east side measured at 78 centimeters from ground level, and the south side was measured at 84 centimeters from ground level. Please see attached for all the measurements in the appeal package. On October 2nd, 2024, Property Standards Order File Number 24-109649A was personally delivered by me to the registered address of Jacqueline Weenan, the owner of 28 Linton Avenue, at her registered address of 2568 Salem Road North in Ajax, Ontario. The order contained requirements for the property owner to repair the oven portion of the stove, as the stove in good state of repair is required in all kitchens pursuant to the bylaw. Furthermore, I ordered that handrails and guards be installed on the property in compliance with the Ontario Building Code Act. Please see the order attached in the appeal package. On October 11th, 2024, the town received a letter requesting an appeal by Matthew Weenan, acting on behalf of Jacqueline Weenan. That letter has also been included in the appeal package. On October 15th, 2024, a letter advising Jacqueline Weenan of the time and date of the upcoming Property Standards / Animal Services Appeal Committee meeting, which was being held today, November 14th, 2024 at 7 p.m., was sent via registered mail and regular mail to the registered address of, again, 2568 Salem Road North in Ajax, Ontario. That letter has also been included in the appeal package.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone on the committee have any questions for the officer?
I do have a question. Are you aware, when you were talking to the tenant looking at the property, how long the stove had been, I guess, broken or not usable?
Through the chair, at the time of my inspection, it was my understanding that it had not been usable for about a couple of weeks or so.
Thank you. Any other questions? No. Now is the opportunity for the appellant to ask the officer specific questions about the officer's testimony.
My common law spouse, Frida, I'm going to let her go first, if that's okay.
Okay, thank you.
If Madam Chair would allow us, we were having some difficulties, and I just realized.
Sorry, this is just questions for the officer right now. You'll have a moment to have your testimony.
Okay. Do you want to do that? We just wanted to understand the process when there is an order. What's that process? And in this situation in particular, with reference to it being a rental property, and the town has a different address, how does that work? Is a copy also sent to the property where the order is, and as well, in this situation, to tenants that are living there? Like, can you elaborate on how an order is delivered?
An order can be delivered in a multitude of ways. Number one, it can be placed on the front door of the dwelling. Number two, it can be sent by registered mail. Or number three, it can be delivered personally to the person who is the registered owner of the property.
And in this particular situation, how was that done?
This order in particular was delivered personally to the address of Jacqueline Weenan.
Okay. The second question I have is, can anyone the public as well as existing tenants' requests for copies? And if so, are any confidential information, meaning addresses, the individual, be redacted? How does that work?
A copy can be requested via a Freedom of Information request. I'm not too sure on the specifics, as I'm not the one who handles the Freedom of Information request or do the redacting for such requests.
Okay, that was my questions. Do you have anything? Pardon me?
Okay. Are you done your questions for the officer?
Do you have further? Go ahead.
Yeah, actually, I just would like to know how the tenant received a copy.
A copy of the order was issued pursuant to the Freedom of Information request.
And the name wasn't redacted, Jacqueline Weenan?
I unfortunately had not had the opportunity to see a copy of the one that was issued.
Okay. I'll continue.
Okay, thank you.
Those were all questions for the officer. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we will proceed with your testimony as the appellants in this case.
Thank you very much for your time tonight. We just realized that part of this, we have complied with some of the order requests, and we have photos. We were having difficulties uploading it, only to realize we could have actually dropped them off for the town. So if Madam Chair would allow me, I can bring such photos for your review.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you.
Madam Chair, point of order. Hold on, ma'am. Hold on. Point of order. In order to take, you need to pass a motion. We also then need to make copies of all the information to provide to all committee members, so you'll have to ask for a brief recess as well.
Okay.
After the motion.
Okay. Is anyone interested in seeing the items? Can I have someone make a motion?
I motion that we take a brief break to all get copies of the photos in hand.
Okay. Can we have a vote on the motion? Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you very much. If you want to go ahead and please present your testimony.
Sure. Thank you very much for your time, and I'm extremely sorry we didn't have the documents to you sooner. Our sincere apologies. You would note there were 4, I guess, infractions that we were asked to comply with. Of those, the photo you will have of the front porch, that would be one of the infractions, which was completed. We hired someone to come in and do the fencing for the entire front, all the railings up to code. And the back railing, based on bylaws filings, the tradesperson was unable to complete that. He's indicated to us he will have that completed on the 24th of this month. So at the latest, could be sooner. So we're asking for your permission to grant us an extension for the back railing on the 24th. It will be completed, if not sooner. The front railings are completed. The yellow jacket issues, we were unable to get that done. That will also be done prior to the 24th of this month. So we're asking for an extension on that, and I'm assuming that would be okay, seeing that the weather's turned cold and the bees are either dead or migrated somewhere else, fingers crossed. And with reference to the repair of the stainless steel, the stove, the issue becomes with reference to the existing tenants. I've also attached a copy of a Durham Regional Police report for you, and we are, as landlords, we don't go there anymore for our own safety. We've had neighbors also having concerns with their safety because the individuals that were assaulted, they were neighbors as well, right on the street. So our concerns are having someone in there and their safety. It becomes back to us. We're asking for the board. We've filed with the Toronto Landlord Tribunal, and we just received our date of January 13th for our hearing, and it's on an N7 filing. We are asking respectfully if you can grant us an extension until after the hearing, till January 30th, to have that stove fixed. The stove is a new stove. It was in perfect working conditions. The tenants had a party, and shortly thereafter, the next day, they sent us an email saying the stove isn't working. There's problems with the oven, and we're like, that stove is brand new stove. We've checked, it's still under warranty. We can get that fixed. However, we do not want to send any tradespeople in there. We also don't want to go in. We assure you we will have that fixed immediately. There's also a microwave that works that I believe it's a convection microwave that can be used in the interim as well. Do you have anything to add?
The other issue we're having is there has been a consistent pattern of damage in the house. Stove, now the flooring.
Plumbing.
Plumbing issues. The tap was turned almost 95% off, so when you turn the tap on, it would rattle. So when I sent the maintenance guy in there, he said, no, it was just turned almost all the way off. There's just been many issues like this with damage in the house, and it's just a pattern. I sent many emails saying, I guess I'll expect another amount of damage next week and the week after, and sure enough, we keep getting emails about damage. They've damaged the gas meter, broke the pipes. There was a major gas leak. They called Consumers Gas, and that had replaced the inlet and the outlet pipe of the gas meter. That could have not only killed the people in the house, but neighbors as well. The tenant's common law, Dwayne, attacked the neighbor with a 3-year-old and a 3-month-old with a handgun. There's two things that I can't deal with: assaulting children and elderly. He did the worst, which is the children. I don't think these people deserve a place to live, much less a stove that works. But unfortunately, we have to let the justice system go through its course, and they will decide. When we rented the house to them, I didn't realize that he was on bail, or sorry, he was on probation for 3 charges at the time. Since that, he was convicted, or so he was charged with 3 more crimes similar to this one. There was a warrant out for his arrest, which again, they never told me about this. After we rented the house, and we got a call from the neighbor who got our number from another neighbor stating what happened. We went online and we saw this article. We started doing some checking and we thought, oh my God, who did we rent to? Since then, it's just been a nightmare. We filed an N7 form, an emergency hearing to have them evicted. Unfortunately, they're backed up. We had a hearing. We ran out of time. It got put off till January 13th. And so that's for the emergency eviction, hopefully within a 10-day period.
Due to the damages, we filed a small claims.
Yeah, we've had to file a small claims action for damages, slander, you name it. It's just been an absolute nightmare. And unfortunately, she works for Toronto Housing, so she knows all the ins and outs of the landlord-tenant tribunal and all these processes as well. They were evicted from their previous home, which I haven't gotten proof yet, but I believe for the same issues.
Okay, thank you. Are you complete your testimony?
Yeah, the only thing I was going to ask, again, the bylaw officer, I'm not quite sure, again, how they got a copy of this order. See, I tried to keep my sister's name out of this because she's in fear for her life.
Okay, your time actually to ask the bylaw officer questions has completed.
Okay.
But that's something that maybe you can take up another time.
Sure, I just would like to get it on record because, again, I know the Freedom of Information Act takes 30 days to get a response. They had a response within a couple days and uploaded it to the Landlord-Tenant Tribunal. And I just find that's concerning.
Okay. And unfortunately, that's not part of our appeal tonight, so thank you. So at this time, I'm going to ask, does the town have any questions for the appellant?
Through the chair, no questions.
Okay. Committee, questions for the appellant?
So if I understand it correctly, you guys have started to address some of the issues, like the railings on the front porch. You need time for the back porch, and the stove. You feel that there is imminent danger or grave danger to a repair person or yourselves attending, and therefore you want that put off until after the hearing?
Yes, I don't want the liability if something happens, me sending them in there and something happened. I don't want that liability. I don't think it's
Okay.
fair to put somebody in that position.
Yep, just wanted to clarify what you guys are asking for.
One other question. So in the meantime, they do have another way of cooking. So the stovetop does work. The
Correct.
stove, the oven itself does not, and there is a microwave.
A convection microwave, yeah.
Have you thought about providing any other convection microwave? Okay. Have you thought about providing any other means, in like maybe a toaster oven, any other way of cooking?
I could probably have a toaster oven dropped off. Convection oven kind of does the same thing.
I guess one other question from what you said. When was the start date of the rent?
Sorry?
When did they start renting from you?
March 15th.
March 15th of this year.
Okay, thank you, that's all.
Sorry, I have a follow-up question. So when you did, I mean, you obviously had someone go over there to address the railing and things like that, and there wasn't any sort of safety concern at that time, or?
Again, it was outside the unit, and he had a helper with him as well. Inside a unit, again,
We can't get anyone to go in.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, I do have a question for you in follow-up to my colleague here. Is there a way that, for example, a frozen pizza could be cooked at the unit at this point in time? I know microwaves don't generally do that or have that space, but is there something that could cook, for example, a frozen pizza?
it's a fair-sized microwave. I don't know the exact dimensions, and I don't know how large of a pizza you could put in there. I would probably suggest a 12-inch.
There is a photo, actually, of the microwave.
Is that the unit above the stove?
Correct.
Yeah,
Okay. And that is operational?
yes, it is.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? No? Okay, now is the time of the meeting where we're going to have each party summarize their position. So we'll start with the town.
Through the chair. In summary, there are clear violations of the Property Standards Bylaw and the Ontario Building Code Act taking place at this property. Some of those violations do cause concern for safety, especially with the cold weather approaching and icy conditions possibly forming at the property. And because of this, I believe the order should be upheld in its entirety and attended to in a timely manner.
And thank you. The appellant, do you want to just summarize your position for us very quickly?
Sure, we would, while we appreciate and we will follow suit and make sure everything is upheld to the bylaw standards and building codes, whatever, our concerns are, and as you can see, we had no problem getting the railings put in, anything outside, not a problem, not an issue. However, having someone go inside the house, that puts a liability and a risk to us that we also have to disclose to anyone going into the house, the nature of the tenants that are living there. And we also don't want the tenants, should we ask them to move out temporarily, to have someone going there, a tradesperson, that they accuse the tradespeople of stealing or any of those other issues that could arise. So our feeling is if we can just ask for a temporary extension to have the back railings done, the jackets removed next week, in 1 week from today. Sorry, that would be the 24th, I think they said. Could be sooner. And with reference to the stove, if we can just have an extension and until the tribunal has given us their answers, if that's okay. Thank you.
Thank you. The committee will now deliberate. So you're free to take a seat, but don't leave because we may have some additional questions. Thank you.
I'm a little bit conflicted on this one because I do think a stove is kind of like a basic need. I think the yellow jackets and the back railing extension until the 24th seems quite reasonable. I think I would feel unsafe sending someone to the property, but I don't really feel the tenant would have reason to harm a contractor or someone from like a stove delivery type service, especially when they need a stove. So, yeah, a little bit conflicted here.
Yeah, I mean, I share the same opinions and concerns as you do. I'm okay with, in fact, giving them till the 30th of November for the back railing as well as the yellow jackets, and that gives you a little bit of time from your promised date. The stove, I mean, I do understand the safety concern. It could be something that Durham Region Police Service can assist with, but I would like to see that addressed, with some sort of urgency.
I believe we heard that this is a gas stove, so yeah, you do need a qualified tradesperson to come in and do that hookup. So it's not just as simple as a delivery. Totally understand the concerns about personal safety. I would be okay, in fact, in providing the extension until after the LTB hearing date. I think June 30th may have been, sorry, January 30th may have been mentioned. But in the interim, I'd like to see them provide some kind of stove, some other way of, some other kind of oven, I should say, because the stove elements do work, but some other kind of oven that they could use. In the meantime, perhaps something that could sit on the counter. That's, you know, low cost, but then would still meet the needs of the tenants, so they'll be able to cook.
Yeah, so I think, you know, I think we're in agreement on all of the issues other than the stove at this point. And, you know, in terms of our deliberation, recognizing that there may be a safety concern for delivery people or repair person going into the unit to provide service to the item that's in the, you know, the non-functioning stove that's in the unit right now. There is a microwave there, which is convection, that doesn't necessarily cook a turkey for Christmas kind of thing. But at the same time, you know, like you said, Paul, a countertop unit might be appropriate as well. So I don't know if we're ready to make a motion on deferring the back railing and the yellow jacket remediation to the end of the month or whatever date. But I'm not sure we're at a consensus yet about the stove, the oven. Unless someone wants to make a motion.
I would think that do you have a toaster oven? What do you have in mind for like a countertop oven?
Yeah,
A toaster
like
oven?
a toaster oven.
So we maybe just want to specify that in the motion. Yeah.
And then also sorry, and also the date to be extended. The hearing date's on January 7th. January 13th. January 13th. Apologize.
Point of order, Madam Chair.
Yep.
You can't add an order on something new that isn't already identified in the order. So putting in something in place of what's in the order is not the authority of this committee.
Perfect, thank you.
I mean, alternately, I would almost encourage the landlords to seek law enforcement help to get the oven fixed as a means to correct this. So, I mean, we can extend that a little bit further than November 30th and, I don't know, maybe give them a month until December 15th to seek enough help to go in there safely.
Yeah, I would be aligned to that.
Okay, does anyone want to put forward a motion?
Sure. So I motion that the handrail on the back and the yellow jacket nest removal be extended to November 30th, and we give the landlord to the 15th of December to seek alternate ways to get a repair person in there, including contacting law enforcement, given that the tenant is known to law enforcement.
Okay. Does anyone want to vote on that one? Yep. In agreement?
Are you in agreement?
Okay, well, we've had three, so thank you. Okay, appellants, please. So the committee has ruled that the extension for the back railing and the yellow jacket removal will take place on or before the 30th of this month, the 30th of November. And the extension will be granted to December 15th to repair the stove, at which point you can seek assistance to have someone come in and help with that.
Sure. Yep. Perhaps even by law.
Thank you very much.
One last point of order, Madam Chair, just so that we have for the record that the vote was 3-1 on that
Yes.
motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so at this point in the committee, we do have some verbal updates. 5.1 from Animal Services.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just as a reminder, this was an issue at 17 Draycott about the dog that bolted from the house and interfered with the individual walking on the sidewalk. The committee upheld the order. Staff has investigated and made contact, and there's been no further incident, and as far as the town's concerned at this point, that it's deemed to be compliant.
Perfect, thank you very much. Next item on our agenda is new business.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The town has 4 items of new business. If you'd like me to proceed now?
Sure, thank you.
Thank you. So at our recent General Government Committee meeting on Monday, a motion was passed by committee to go to council that any appeals regarding animal services orders from this committee that would typically go to General Government Committee is now being diverted to go to the town's hearing officer under our AMPS program. The same fees will apply, the same process. The difference is if somebody wishes to appeal the animal services side, it'll go to the town's hearing officer through our AMP system. It won't go to General Government Committee anymore. The second item is we will be sending out an email this week with our 2025 dates on them. It'll be the same format as we currently have now. The dates will be February 13th, April 10th, June 12th, September 11th, and November 13th, which is the same Thursday rotation that we currently do now. But we'll send it through so you have that meeting request in your calendars, whatever calendars that you use. The next item that the town has is that this is our last meeting of the year. We will be processing the remuneration for the committee at the end of this meeting, that we will be dealing with payroll, so you will see that that will be deposited into your accounts. And again, on behalf of the town, we thank you for your year of service. And last point of the committee is a staff announcement that this unfortunately will be my last committee meeting. As of December 10th, I'll be leaving the town on retirement. My official last day will be January 31st, but I will be leaving December 20th, and we'll be on holidays, so there will be a new staff resource person come really December 20th for the next year's worth of meetings. So I thank you all for your service. This will be our last meeting, so it's been an honor to work with you all, and I wish you nothing but the best.
And I want to congratulate you on that. Wow.
That concludes the town's new business.
Okay, thank you. That concludes our agenda other than adjournment. Do we have a motion to adjourn? Okay. Perfect, thank you.